We're 4 races into the 5th Trinity River Cup Series season, and now we arrive for the 5th race of the season, to the Rock. Welcome to Rockingham, North Carolina. We are here in the Tar Heel state of this 1-mile high-banked speedway for the 3rd time in this series history. This is the Pop Secret 400 at the Rock. Last week, we had a caution-free Daytona 500 that saw the 2021 Series champion Trey Smith take home his 3rd career race victory, and we're looking forward to another thriller here at Rockingham. Hopefully maybe a little cleaner than the one last year. It had 5 cautions, so we'll have to see how this one goes. I'm joined alongside AG for the call of this one. It has been a while, my man. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you. You've been joining a lot of my races on my side, so I figured I'd return the favor. But hey, great to be here at the Rockingham Speedway. This is a very fascinating racetrack, and it's a shame we don't run here in real life anymore, but we should have ourselves a very entertaining and fun 79-lap event here today, and looking forward to see who pulls it off.
Absolutely, it is an interesting racetrack. I've always thought it to be kind of a Bristol-Richmond hybrid, although it just tends to be, it is a little bigger than both of those racetracks. It's got Richmond front stretch and back stretch, but with Bristol type turns. It definitely makes for a very interesting dynamic, and we are more than ready to get this 79 laps underway. But real quick, let's take a look at the point standings coming into this one. It is Mr. Monaco, Eric Monaco, on top of the points. He has 150 points towards the championship, an average finish of 5.5. He is off to a fantastic start here in the 2023 season. He's 13 ahead of Braden Perez, who won the AutoNation Grand Prix at Daytona. He's 25 ahead of Andrew Williams, who has 2 career wins to his resume. Kyle McLeese comes in 39 points back, 2 wins last season, and a 2nd place points finish. He's winless so far, but he gained 11 spots after that Daytona 500. Brad Stover is 5th in the point standings for Polar Star. He is 42 points behind Eric Monaco. He's actually tied with Brock Nelson in that regard, but he gets the tiebreaker for 1 additional top 10. Nelson is also 42 points behind. 43 back is Priya McShane in the number 91 for Osgen Motorsports. 2 career wins to her name as well. Rockingham and Homestead in 2022, looking to get number 3 today. Chase Buck, the Clash winner, sits 44 points behind in the 8th position. Elijah Gordon is 46 back. Only 1 career win to his name. He's looking to get another one today. And rounding out the top 10, it is Roberto Crown Jr., 48 points behind Eric Monaco. That is going to do it for the pre-race show. Let's go down trackside. We'll get you your starting lineup, and we'll get this show on the road at the Rock. And it's time to get the cars rolling off the pit road here at Rockingham. It is Chase Buck on the pole position, coming in 8th in the championship standings. He starts alongside Trey Wright in the 95, who comes in 20th. In row 2, we find Scott Upton, the 78, never won a Trinity River Cup race before, starts alongside Mitchell Collins in the Fitzwater Collins, number 43. Row 3, we find rookie Anthony McClure out of Wisconsin Racing Incorporated. He starts alongside Ella Hunter Cruz Jr. for Monkey Buck. In row number 4, we find Mitchell Henderson starting alongside Paul Antoine Cyr, Velocity and Logan Sport in row 4. Rounding out the top 10, we find Priya McShane for Oskin Motorsports and Marty Sakala for the EL Alpine Racing Team. Alex, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here at Rockingham?
And I think Scott Upton there in that 7-8 is going to have a shot, even though they've never won before in this series. 3rd place is a great place to start here at the Rockingham Speedway. I'm going to give it to Scott there in the 78.
Be a big upset. We'll have to see how it goes. Welcome, everybody. Hope you enjoy the race. The Pop Secret 400 is green at Rockingham. Onto the main straightaway, it is Buck who leads lap number 1 at Rockingham. Upton into the 2nd position, pressed against the back side of that Mercedes as they thunder off into turn 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway called Thunder Alley. Single file all the way back to 7th, but Henderson taking a look to the inside. It's the Mitchell and Mitchell show for the 4th position. Henderson will get the advantage.
And that inside lane, at least at the start of this race, is going to be where you want to be. But as we get deeper into the run, the inside lane isn't going to have near as much of a grip because these guys really, really have a huge tire fall off here around this racetrack. And that is what makes this race very, very interesting, especially if this thing stays green. We get a green flag cycle of pit stops.
It went green a long ways at the start of the race last year before everything got crazy. We'll have to see how it goes this year. Anthony McClure, rookie, drafting up to the backside of Scott Upton. Down to the inside, he'll take the second spot away from the Verizon Chevrolet, and Mitchell Henderson and Priya McShane looking to follow suit on the inside.
Yeah, Mitchell Henderson looking really fast there in that 53 machine, and then right behind him, I believe that's the 91. Priya McShane, of course, I know she's top 10 in points, like you mentioned, so interesting to see those guys up front. And then you got the 47 there as well, Braden Perez. Interesting, some of these guys are going to be racing in the Wawa Cup Series race here in about a month's time, roughly. Will be coming here, and Perez is one of those guys, so we'll have to see if he learns anything today for that race. That'll be a 99-lap race in about a month, but either way, Braden Perez now looking pretty strong as he's got to run to the inside for fourth on Priya McShane.
Finally broke through and got his first career win, and he is looking strong here early on at Rockingham, side by side for second. Mitchell Henderson is on the charge on Anthony McClure, and it looks like he's going to get the spot from the Target Chevrolet. And he'll look to chase down the 45 of Buck, who has led all the laps so far here at Rockingham. Already on to lap number 7 at the Rock. It's Mitchell Collins and Priya McShane side by side a little further back. That's for 6th place. Christian Vargas, who moved over to the 05 from the 46, who is driven now by Alejandro Cruz Jr. They actually swapped rides in the offseason. So Christian Vargas is looking strong early on as Perez slides wide. Priya McShane down to the inside of that 47. That, I believe, will be for the 6th position. Yes, it will be. Priya McShane takes it as up front. Buck leads by about 0.4 of a second. Henderson and McClure trying to close in.
Yeah, Chase Buck looking pretty strong right now. The longer he can hold on to this race lead, the harder it is for these guys to be able to catch up to him. Like I mentioned, the tire wear here is very significant, and you want to get your runs and make your passes early because it gets very difficult to make a pass on these drivers. We have someone coming off the pit lane there. That's the 41 of John Andrews. And an issue there in that machine.
And he wasn't the only one.
Another driver as well.
Alejandro Cruz Jr., the 46, was talking about him a little bit ago, and they've come out onto the racetrack. Both of them will fall a lap down. So interesting. I don't know what happened there to them, but either way, they have fallen back behind. Andrew Williams has also had to go down the pit road. That's a Dracoan car. They've looked fast early on this year. Andrew Williams comes in 3rd in the championship. This is a horrible break for him.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. They could be strategy. I'm not sure what the strategy call is on these guys, but now you got Williams there battling with the race leader, trying to stay on the lead lap or maybe 2 laps. And you got Anthony McClure catching right up to him there for that race lead.
And according to the standings, it looks like Caleb Rose blew an engine during that process. So Caleb Rose comes in 17th in the championship. Looked like he was finally on the rebound after a struggle of a start. Had a great run in the Daytona 500. And this is definitely going to set him behind the 8 ball. Looks like he's going to come out of here with a last place finish if Williams, Cruz, and Andrews keep going. But McClure right up to the backside of the 45, looking to have the first lead change of the race. Here he goes to the inside. They're side by side, and he'll make it look easy on the 45.
Yeah, we're still at the point where the tires haven't worn out too much yet, so that 24 of Anthony McClure definitely with the advantage on the inside, but he can thank Andrew Williams for kind of getting up in the way of Chase Buck. That slowed that 45 down, and now Chase Buck kind of stuck on that way outside lane.
Caution's out. It's William Brock into the pits, and it looks like several. Ace Garcia, after his teammate Caleb Rose already ran into problems, and now Garcia has trouble. Also, I believe, saw Keenan Biller, Season 2 champion, on the pit road, as look out for everybody else behind. Roberto Crown Jr.'s got damage on the 3. And yes, indeed, Keenan Biller there, Season 2 champion in the pits. So the first caution is out on lap number 14. And why not go ahead and take care of the pit cycle? It was going to be it was probably only going to be a one-stopper, but now it should be a two-stopper as they come down on lap number 14. It was going to be right around the end of the 30s into the 40s, but they're definitely going to have one more pit stop before this one comes to an end. We'll have to see how this goes. Apparently, Anthony McClure led at the start-finish line that time through, so he held off Mitchell Henderson coming back around. So we'll have to see how the pit stops go for these drivers.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be a two-stopper now, but it won't be a fuel mileage race. I mean, if the fuel window was right there at halfway, that would have really gotten interesting, but now we definitely will have another cycle, probably about lap 55, around lap 60, about 20 laps to go, but good pit stop there for McClure, and he's going to win the race off the pit lane.
It'll be Henderson second, Kukulon in third, big jump for the 82, then Collins, McShane, Lightning, Troxel, Buck, and Upton, I believe, was the top 10 coming out of the pit road, and of course, lap traffic, John Andrews going to come down into the pits. I'm a little surprised. Well, I'm a little surprised he came back down, to be honest, because Williams and Cruz are going to stay out. They already came down the pits, and William Brock is unfortunately looks like he's going to fall out of the race as a result of the incident in turn 1. Very, very tough break for that driver coming in after a brilliant speed weeks, working his way back up the championship standings, and this is not the way he wanted his Rockingham race to go. But the first caution is out here in the Pop Secret 400. Let's go back and take a look at what happened to set it off. So taking a look from overhead as they come out of turn number 4, William Brock, everything's normal one moment, the next. The black smoke of death is coming out of the Best Buy number 59 for Team Ninja Rapids. That is a tough break for William, and if it couldn't get worse, tries to get down to the inside to get out of the way, runs into the Season 2 champion, Kanan Biller, who takes a hellacious hit to the inside, slides back up the racetrack. Brock Nelson somehow gets through. Roberto Crown up into Ace Garcia. Garcia spins around. Trey Wright gets a piece. And so about 4 or 5 or more cars involved in turn 1 to bring out the first caution of the race. A brutal incident here at Rockingham, but let's take a look at full speed.
Yeah, this is not the best place to blow an engine, and Kanan Biller there in the 81 is the wrong place at the wrong time. That is a very bad angle. Very bad angle, and I'm surprised we only had about 4 or 5 drivers actually get caught up in that one. That could have been much worse than it was, but Garcia and Biller especially going to be out, and of course William Brock going to be out after this one here from the Rockingham Speedway.
Of course, Anthony McClure led the field around. We'll take a look at a couple more angles before we get back going. We're going to take a look at a couple of onboards before we get back to green flag racing here at Rockingham. So to kick things off, Brandon Hayes gets a face full of the black smoke of death that comes out of William Brock's car, and then we'll look out behind. Just misses Kanan Biller coming back up the racetrack behind him. That could have been catastrophic for Hayes, but someone else it could have been catastrophic for. Brock Nelson will go on board with that 73. On board with last year's Brickyard 400 winner Brock Nelson, you see the smoke from Brock's car just ahead. Watch Kanan Biller down from the bottom to the top and just barely getting through. I don't even think you could have slipped a piece of paper between the 81 and the 73. Very, very lucky Brock Nelson coming into this race in the bottom half of the championship standings, I believe. So, very, very lucky moment for Brock Nelson in need of something to go right for him, and well, he definitely had that go right for him. But field is going to be in the hands of, I believe it's going to be Mitchell Henderson, but we'll have to see.
McClure won the race off actually, so I think we'll have that 24 lead.
Yeah, it was one of those two. Since we do this after the race, it's a little hard for me to remember sometimes, but it's one of those two. Leading the field to the green flag in just a moment. Track is clear, we're good to go, so let's head to the restart here at the Rockingham Speedway. So we got the one to go that time through here at Rockingham. Welcome back to your live coverage of the Pop Secret 400 here on the Trinity River Network. Race 5 of the 2023 Trinity River Cup Series season. Anthony McClure leads the way ahead of Mitchell Henderson. Then Sebastian Kukulon, Mitchell Collins, and Priya McShane. That's the top 5. Caution coming out for a big incident over in turn 1 involving Kanan Biller, William Brock, Ace Garcia, and potentially several other cars. But the green flag is about to come out, and we are racing once again at Rockingham. Great restart for the top 2.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the nice thing about these single file restarts is, you know, no one really has a disadvantage. It's all really up to you. You don't get stuck in that outside lane, but Henderson there, that was a pretty good restart there for the 53, and going to try to get to the inside here of the 24. He's going to have a shot, but not quite enough to get to the inside.
They were 3 wide already, a little further back coming out of turn number 2. They get it sorted out. Teague ahead of McLeese, ahead of Sterling, ahead of Nelson for the time being, as Kukulon gets a big run to the backside of that 53 down Thunder Alley into turn number 3. Lightning down to the inside of Mitchell Collins, and Buck will follow through. The pole sitter marching his way back up through the field.
Yeah, definitely got stuck in that outside lane when he got past there and fell back a little bit, but now he's trying to get his way back through. Top 5 for him. You got the number 5 there, Dale Lightning as well. Great run for Lightning in the 5 machine. You got the 82 here of Sebastian Kukulon, definitely a strong driver trying to get second here for Mitchell Henderson. He might have a shot here heading into turn number 1.
Kukulon, a 3-time winner in the points-paying races of the Trinity River Cup Series, 2 last year. Here he goes to the inside of Mitchell Henderson, who won at Texas Motor Speedway 1 year ago by just 54 one-thousandths of a second after Christian Vargas got held up by a lap car, which just so happened to be his teammate. It was a goofy finish, to be sure, but Mitchell Henderson was a benefactor as Buck gets sideways out of turn 4, but he's dirt trekking it on the inside, and it seems to be paying off. Here he goes down to the inside of the 53. He'll take 4th place away as Dale Lightning moves into the 2nd position just ahead of that.
Yeah, a good run there for Lightning to the inside of Kukulon. That number 5 is lightning fast right now. No pun intended. Actually, no, I intended that pun. Sorry. But he's going to have a shot here at McClure for the race lead here in a moment because he is closing right up to the back bumper of the 24 here.
Lightning, I believe, coming into this race, solid position in the championship standings. He's had several good runs this year already, running up towards the front. He ran good at Daytona. He gained 8 spots after that Daytona 500.
Oh boy.
It's 24th in the standings as we're going 3 wide. Kukulon, Lightning, and McClure. McClure gets shoved out wide. Kukulon gets a 2-for-1 special on the inside. How about that?
That was a great move there out of Kukulon, and he had the opportunity on Lightning, who was already getting the opportunity on McClure, and Kukulon comes out with the race lead, and that opens the door for Chase Buck to go back up to 2nd. And you got the 43 as well, Mitchell Collins, and Scott Upton there looking to take 3rd away from the 43.
That's your pick, Alex. Into the 3rd position they go, in behind the 45 of Buck, and that 3-wide battle, it looks like it's just accordioned the entire front group back together for a moment. Vargas around that 43 now into the 4th position. How about Thomas Troxel? We haven't talked about him hardly at all. He's flying the banner high for Pacific Camel Racing right now.
Drives Pacific Racing over in the Wawa Cup Series as well in that same number. So definitely looking forward to the Wawa Cup Series race coming up as Chase Buck moves to the inside for the race lead on Kukulon. And both of these guys going to be in that race as well. We got a lot of guys who are going to be in that race that are definitely getting a lot of experience here today. And definitely going to be interesting to see who gets the race victory. But here comes Upton looking for 2nd on the 82 as Chase Buck is retaking the race lead.
The intensity has definitely been pushed to 11 since that restart. We're kind of going through the motions before that yellow flag came out, and things have really hit the fan at this point. Oh, Kukulon in the wall as Vargas forced him out wide, and his teammate Justin Zidell will now be the highest running Trinity River Racing car for the moment as McClure gets around that 82. It's a Mercedes, Chevy, Toyota, and Toyota, the top 5 here at Rockingham as we come around to start lap 29 in the Pop Secret 400.
Knock on wood, this has been a relatively clean race so far, albeit outside of that one wreck that we had. Here comes Zidell on the 83. And I think last year, And I'm sorry, I talk about my own stuff a lot because that's just what I know. But Wall Pro Series last year, I believe Justin Seidel won the feature race here at Rockingham, which happened to be the last race for the Wall Pro Series, and he won that in an next-gen car. So not a surprise to see him run up here inside the top 5, and he could be a threat to win this race, especially if he can get around Troxel here in a few laps.
Seidel has definitely looked like a much better driver this year than he was last year over at Pacific Hamlin Racing, driving the 62 that Thomas Troxel now pilots. Seidel had an all-time bad season as far as the statistics for Pacific Racing are concerned. He didn't even finish in the top 35 in the championship standings. So making the move over to Trinity River Racing, he's off to a pretty solid start so far here at Rockingham. Things have singled out for a moment. He goes down to the inside of Troxel, though, to try to take that 4th position away, and he'll do it with ease.
A great run there for Seidel. The inside of Troxel found the opportunity to take it. Here comes the 24 there. Anthony McClure and Elijah Gordon moving his way up as well in the 76. Troxel has kind of lost it there. You get stuck in that outside lane when these tires are still fresh, and it's really hard to gain an advantage. But when the tires wear out, and if we stay green here, we get to a point where we get significant tire wear, you're going to see that outside lane work a lot better. But now's the opportunity to get your positions, and Scott Upton may have a shot here on Chase Buck. I think they're going to take it.
Looks like they might. Down to the inside of Buck, and they're going to take the lead. 78 to the front at Rockingham, and I was going to mention it. Elijah Gordon drove that 24 last year and took it to a win at Phoenix. Now Anthony McClure is driving that 24, the rookie, and Elijah Gordon making the move over to NS Blackout in the rebranded number 76. It was the 5 last year for John Andrews. He's now over at Ryan Durrani Incorporated. Troxel gets around Chase Buck. Goodness, that was a pretty abrupt pass by Thomas Troxel, but my goodness, he made it work.
One guy we haven't really mentioned yet, Christian Vargas there in that 05, up to 2nd. A great run for Vargas right here. Scott Upton, Christian Vargas, a couple of guys. I'm not really sure how well Vargas has been doing this season. I don't know if he's won before, but he's been pretty quiet, and here he is running runner-up right now.
You know something? This is Christian Vargas' 3rd full-time season of Trinity River Cup Series competition. In his first season in 2021, he finished last of the full-time drivers. Last year, he finished 11th in the championship standings, didn't win a race. So far, he's yet to win a race, but he comes into this race 12th in the championship standings, so just barely outside the top 10, as now he is in a battle with Justin Seidel in the 83, the Valvoline Oil Change Toyota, and Seidel will go into that 2nd position and now try to chase down Upton. Meanwhile, a fellow Toyota, Thomas Troxel, got his hands full with Chase Buck. It's Buck moving into that 4th position around the Best Western number 62.
Troxel kind of stuck in that outside lane, and he just barely kind of saw it there. Vargas kind of had a run on that outside lane down Thunder Alley. Of course, he couldn't fully hold off Seidel, but that outside lane is going to get better and better, which means that it's going to be harder and harder to make a pass on this racetrack as this race goes along, as this run goes along more specifically. So, going to be interesting to see if Upton kind of pull away here, and if they can do that, then they're going to be a little bit harder to beat here. And when you have that advantage, you got that race lead. Once you get later on in the run, you have some options on the pit lane, and that could give the advantage to Upton. I might get this one right here. We're just going to have to see.
Oh, the caution just came out again. And in turn 1 and 2, it looks like Crown may have been involved again. Keegan Thompson, the 23, has some damage. And the 2nd caution of the race is out just before we were going to get to that 2nd pit cycle. And, well, we are right now, this is going to be really close. We're at 41 laps to go at the moment, and no doubt they're going to come down again right here, and it looks like they are angling towards the pit road. They might actually be able to make it from here. It's going to be close. We'll have to keep an eye on it, but it is definitely going to be close. But everybody, no doubt, after a long green flag run, is going to be coming down for a full tank of Sunoco and 4 fresh Michelins on their race cars. We'll have to see who can get it done the quickest. In and out of pit road here at Rockingham, Upton all the way down to stall number 3 on the pit road. Buck down to stall number 1. and we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think they probably will be able to make it to the end if you count the caution laps that they're going to have as well. But that doesn't mean that if we get another caution in this race that they are going to stay out, because tires are very, very important here as Upton wins the race off with Zidell, Vargas. Then I think Chase Buck got Thomas Troxel, but Troxel
I believe he
was pulling
did.
away as if he didn't. So we'll see how they sort that out.
The officials are going to have a field day with this one, that is for sure. But now sitting at right at 40 laps to go, we're coming around to get 39 laps to go here at Rockingham. It is Upton leading the way. They'll lead us to the green flag here in just a little bit, but let's go back and take a look at what happened to bring out the second caution of the race here in the Pop Secret 400 at the Rock. So watching from overhead, Marty Sakala down to the inside of Keegan Thompson. They get together once, save it, and then down into the tri-oval. Sakala just runs out of room as Keegan Thompson drives him all the way down to the apron, and Marty says enough. Into the back of the Mac Tools Toyota he goes. Down to the inside goes Thompson. Slams the wall. Back up into Marty. And is going to take Roberto Crown Jr. and Brad Stover out as well. A 4-car incident in Turn 1. Turn 1's Calamity Corner today. That's the second incident we've had. And both of them have been over in the primary corner. But let's take a look now at full speed.
You can see Keegan Thompson kind of in the middle there, and Marty wasn't having any of this. This was a very flush hit to the inside wall as well for Thompson. And look at that. 4 going around like all at once. It's Stover, Crown Jr. and Sakala, and this the wrong place at the wrong time. I don't think anyone's going to get knocked out from this. I think Thompson able to stay out there even after that vicious hit. But same place as that first accident. Hopefully we will not see any more like that here today.
We will definitely keep our fingers crossed for that. But real quick, before we get back to the green flag, let's once again take a look at an onboard camera, this one from Max Sterling. So he's just behind this as he comes out of turn number 4. He's Marty into the back of Keegan Thompson, and the 23 will come back up the racetrack and just misses it. That's a lot closer than I actually thought it was. So Max Sterling, a very, very lucky driver to come out of that one relatively unscathed. But the track is clear, and we are just about ready to get racing once again here at Rockingham, as Scott Upton led the field around to the caution flag. Track is clear, we are good to go. So let's head to the restart once again at Rockingham. So we got the one to go the last time through here at Rockingham. Welcome back, folks. Working the second caution of the race of the Pop Secret 400, and let's just kind of break down what we've seen so far in the first half of this race.
I think it's been an interesting one, but I like how clean this race has been so far, knock on wood. We've only had 2 cautions, so not too crazy. We've seen a lot worse than that before, but I think Upton, like I said, I picked them to win this race at the top of the show. I think they're going to have an advantage here. But Zidell and Chase Buck, Christian Vargas, there are some fast cars right behind them. It's going to be a very interesting restart here.
Indeed it will. Green flag is back out at Rockingham. Upton with a good launch. Zidell as well. Buck not quite as good as the top 2. Vargas didn't really get going well either, and so he's got Thomas Troxel all over his back bumper. Nicholas Samadillo slides wide on the outside of Stephen Colon, the new Smyrna winner and defending series champion. Meanwhile, Anthony McClure trying to close in on that 62. He's got Brock Nelson defending Brickyard 400 winner behind him.
Second.
And here comes Buck down to the inside of Zidell.
You got Troxel getting to the inside of Vargas, McClure getting to the inside. Look out for that 73 as well, Brock Nelson. Good run for him right there. Now Chase Buck going to take second. That's exactly what Upton wanted to see right there. Is this guy's battle for second. They want to definitely try to pull out here and get some bit of a lead. Hopefully for them that this race stays green the whole way through and they can get an advantage. Just like I was saying just before that caution came out, the longer into the run we go, the more the tires wear out, the harder it is to close in on a driver and pass them. And you just never know when that caution's going to come out, if it's going to come out. So definitely want to get as much of a lead as you can. But Chase Buck, Justin Zidell, they're closing in here.
And not making any moves right now, so that will allow the 45 and 83 to close in. Now just a little over a quarter second behind that 78, but Buck closing in tremendously through 1 and 2. Down Thunder Alley, headed for turn number 3. That Mercedes is going to be all over the back of the Verizon Chevrolet coming out of turn number 4. Have to watch to see if Buck's able to make a move heading into 1 this time. Don't think he's quite close enough to the back of that 78. Maybe the next time through.
Yeah, Chase Buck definitely, I give Chase a lot of credit in this race because he's been able to stay up front pretty much the entire time after starting on the pole. Watch out for the machine right there, the Spotify car.
That's
I don't know.
Roberto Crown Jr.
That's what I thought. As we got a pass for the race lead.
And Buck down to the inside of Upton. Zeidel's going to have a shot at getting into that second position as well. So Buck, the pole sitter, retakes the lead here at the Rockingham Speedway. Roberto Crown Jr. worked their way up to the outside and will be out of the fast lane on the inside of the racetrack. Zeidel into the second position, and this is going to be really good for Thomas Truxell. He's knocking on the door of the 78 of Scott Upton now.
And of course, Upton got stuck in that outside lane early on into a tire run, so there's just nothing up there early on, but they're going to try to take it back from Zeidel for second. I think that 78 is quite fast here. Just got caught up there by Chase Buck, who won the pole, so Chase Buck may just be the fastest, and Upton may be the second fastest here today.
We are now sitting at 30 laps to go in this Pop Secret 400, fastest car of the race. Well, go figure, it'd be Chase Buck, 23.319, better than 1,000th of a second, better by 1,000th of a second, I should say, ahead of Mitchell Henderson, as Zeidel gets around for the second position with Scott Upton. Mitchell Henderson, second fastest car of the race, runs 9th right now, but will have the 9th position taken away from him by Sebastian Kukulon.
Henderson kind of falling back. He was up front earlier on in this race, but he gets stuck in the wrong position, especially after a restart and fall back. You see the 10 moving up there. Trey Smith, who won last week in the Daytona 500. And, he's just outside the top 10 now, and actually just inside the top 10, but now going to be back outside the top 10 as Thibodeau goes to the inside for that 10th position. A lot of scrambling going on midway through the field here.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you something. Jacob Thibodeau flew the banner high for Pacific Camel Racing 1 year ago. And, well, right now, he's 26th in the championship standings. He's right in the middle. Zeidel's 26th, Truxell's 29th. Perez is up in the second position. So Perez has been flying the banner high for PHR so far in 2023. Thibodeau's looking to rebound after what has been an absolutely just colossally bad start to his season for the standards he set for himself 1 year ago. But now we are coming around for 25 laps to go the next time through. We've got lap traffic ahead. Marty Sakala and Keegan Thompson as Upton closes up to the back of the 45.
Yeah, I watch out for Upton right here. That 78 is really fast, and they seem to be closing in, and they're going to want to make this move sooner rather than later. Like I said, you don't know if another caution's going to come out, and if this thing stays green, to get to the later part of this race, it's going to be much harder to make a pass. But the good thing here is they have a run to the inside of Chase Buck for the race lead, and they're closing in on lap traffic as well, so this could get very interesting. But a new race leader here, they're going to make that look easy.
Absolutely. Wonderful pass by Scott Upton, and now down to the inside of Keegan Thompson. Now to have some brownie points and a little bit of leverage between themselves and the 83 of Zeidel and the 45 of Buck. Now to get down to the inside of Sakala. Again, making it look easy, but Zeidel now down to the inside of his Trinity River Racing teammate Keegan Thompson. He gets up out of the way of the 83 and the 45. Now Zeidel down to the inside of Sakala, trying to stay within arm's reach of that 78. The lead right now, 3/4 of a second for Upton, as we'll come around for lap 58 the next time through. 22 laps to go here at The Rock.
Upton a little wide there through the corner. Zeidel and Buck did an excellent job getting through the lap traffic there. An absolutely immaculate job. That was good stuff there out of Zeidel and Buck, and because of that, they have not lost touch of the race leader. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can close back in on Upton before this race is done, and I think they will. You got Troxel there in 4th, Elijah Gordon in 5th. Great runs for them, but this top 3 is pulled away, and Zeidel, he's going to have a shot in the turn number 1 for the race lead here.
Oh, tremendous run by Justin Zeidel. Heading off into that first turn. There he goes to the inside. Upton on the defensive line. Had to turn it back in to keep the 83 from getting to the inside. Wonderful defensive job there by Scott Upton to hold on to the race lead. Coming around for 20 laps to go. I only have 2 hands, so I can't do a whole 20. But we are halfway away from 10 laps to go, so I'll at least give myself credit for that. Here's Chase Buck going down to the inside of Justin Zeidel for that second position. They're both trying to get around the 78. This is going to be an absolute dogfight for the lead in just a few moments, no doubt.
Absolutely. Chase Buck. Oh, that's exactly what Upton wants to see. Zeidel really lost it there in turn. He almost hit the outside wall at the exit of 4. Very poor entry. And lots of times you can get in that outside lane to be fine, but he just completely lost it. Way too much speed into the corner for him. That may hurt him quite a bit here. But Upton, we're kind of in that range now where the tires are to a point where it's going to be a lot harder to make a pass, and Upton may be in the best position right now to get this race victory at Rockingham.
If there is one place on this racetrack you do not want to be stuck on the outside, it is absolutely coming out of turn number 4, and unfortunately Justin Zeidel just found that out the hard way. Tough break for Zeidel, but still running in a podium spot and still within a second and a quarter of the 78 of Scott Upton and within 7/10 of a second of Chase Buck. So still very much in contention for this race victory, but it's definitely going to be a little more difficult now.
Absolutely, and I'm not saying Chase Buck can't pull it off, but a caution right now for Buck and Zeidel would be exactly what they would want to see, because that would give them a much better chance at getting this race victory, because these guys would come back down again, I think, if the opportunity presented itself to get fresher tires, because this track just eats up those Michelins here. And it's going to be fascinating to see if we do get a caution. I mean, knock on wood, we've had it pretty clean here the past 24 laps or so. As a matter of fact, I think this is the longest green flag run we've had. Also, though, keep in mind, we came down right at halfway, and that's right where the fuel window was. So we'll just have to see if these guys can, in fact, make it to the end. I think they can do it, but I don't know. Just keep that in the back of your head.
I feel like they should be able to, but I don't want to say one thing and then it end up happening, so we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. We're coming around for 14 laps to go this next time through. Buck has got up to the backside of the 78, and we'll see if Buck can have some success getting around Scott Upton once again. Battle for 4th place is on between Jacob Thibodeau and Kyle McLeese. McLeese finished 2nd in the championship 1 season ago, not having a very good start to his 2nd season of Trinity River Cup competition, as here's Buck right down into the race lead.
Wow,
that
he
was
made that
quick.
Look easy. Yeah. Wondering if Upton kind of used up their stuff there, trying to pull out ahead. Lots of times it's, especially through 1 and 2, but Chase Buck kind of got the run there in the 3 and 4. And 3 and 4, the inside lane does stick a lot better later on into a run, but Upton's just off the pace now.
Oh,
they
man.
did use up their stuff, and here comes Zeidel for 2nd.
I think that's exactly what happened, and Justin Zeidel now on the charge in the Valvoline number 83 out of 4. We'll see if maybe he can get down to the inside of that 78. It looks like the 78's back running, though, so we'll have to see if maybe that was just a bad exit out of that turn, but it certainly looked like there was something wrong with that 78. Meanwhile, Buck leads the way, the pole sitter up front once again in the Pop Secret 400. Oh, Upton's got a good run now.
I think it can be any of these 3 guys now for this race win. We could be shaping ourselves to a pretty good finish here. We only got 11 laps to go here at Rockingham, so it's going to be interesting to see who gets it done. Now, one thing I do understand, Josh, you do have overtime here in the Trinity River Cup Series, so you got to take that white flag as Upton going to take the race lead from Chase Buck. And they made that look easy.
Indeed. What great racing we're seeing at the front here at Rockingham. And, funny you should bring up the overtime rule. We just had a vote. The day we're recording this race, I just held a vote to see if we were going to keep that or not. And, well, Overwhelmingly, the vote was to keep it, so we'll definitely do that. I think it's worked out well so far. Haven't really had any big disasters, I would say, but here's Buck getting down to the inside of Upton. They are not going to stop. This is great racing we're seeing here up front.
Absolutely. Now you see Upton, though. They're going to have a slight run on the outside. We'll have to see if they arc it in the 3. They might. Oh, they're going to stay side by side. This is exactly what I was talking about. Now you see Upton found that run on that outside lane, and now we're at that point where that inside isn't going to be working quite as well as the outside. And Upton able to take that race lead back away. They may be in position, but Chase Buck's going to have another shot here.
Down Thunder Alley, headed off into that third turn. Buck might have a better chance this time. Upton outside, Buck inside, nose ahead for the 45, and Buck back to the race lead once again here at Rockingham.
Oh, look now, here comes Zidell as well. It's kind of like a magic line on that outside lane. If you're not quite in the correct line, you're going to slip back. It's just a very unique racetrack here, and you just never know what line it is that these guys are going to have. How about Jacob Thibodeau, by the way? He's up to 4th in that 32 machine. And in the Logitech car there, I think it's Kyle McLeese in the 27 in the 5th position. Haven't really talked about either of them too much today.
They are having tremendous runs for it. They've had difficult seasons to this point, the first 4 races. Again, Thibodeau coming into this race 26th in the standings.
Boy.
As Buck runs up on the lap traffic of Keegan Thompson, makes it look easy. They're side by side for second. Zidell and Upton. Zidell into that second position. Gonna have to get around this 23 quick. And it looks like he'll be able to, as will Upton. Again, fantastic job maneuvering around the lap traffic.
I think this is a relatively easy track to get around lap traffic. They do tend to find themselves out of the way here, which is great. The closing rate here especially is just so much greater just because of the tire wear and all of that. But good that that's not going to become an issue as... Got that 83 there as Zidell trying to close in on Chase Buck, but I think we may have just seen our last pass for the race lead here.
We'll have to see. Upton's going to give Zidell the boot. Scoot, boogie, and into the second position goes Upton. That's what Buck wanted to see. As we come around for 3 laps to go, and, well, we are really, really close now to the end of this race. It's going to be surprising, I would say, if somebody came down the pit road among this top 3 at this point, but we'll just keep an eye out and see if that does in fact end up happening. We're coming around for 2 laps to go the next time through. Lap traffic ahead. Marty Sakala, could that play a factor as to who wins this race?
Marty might come into play if Chase Buck doesn't get around them correctly here. Scott Upton is right there to close in. But like I mentioned, I think this is one of those places where it's relatively easy to get around lap traffic, but we're just going to have to see what Sakala does here.
Sakala runs up to the outside. Buck hasn't quite caught that 11. Now down the backstretch into 3. Makes it look easy and got a big lead now. 7/10 of a second for Buck. Not going to come down the pit road. So the white flag is going to come out here at Rockingham for Chase Buck, the Clash winner. 1 mile away from his first career win.
Scott Upton had a good run getting around Sakala, but they're just too far behind at this point to get to that 45, excuse me. How about that? Chase Buck started on the pole for this race, and it's looking like he is going to get the race victory as well. Don't see that every day in NR.
What a race at Rockingham. Chase Buck from first to first in the Pop Secret 400. From the pole to the checkered flag. How about that? First career win for Chase Buck, and the first win since the Daytona 500 of 2022 for the Diego Vasquez owned team as far as points paying races are concerned. Buck put the field on notice winning the Clash at Eldora, but we kind of wrote that off. Like, I don't know that we're going to see the drivers necessarily that run up front at Eldora be that way for the rest of the season, but Buck comes into this race 8th in the championship standings after a good Daytona 500, gained 9 spots in the championship standings. He might climb up the standings a little more after this one. As he comes into the pits, we'll take a look at your race finishing results in their entirety. Buck wins with an average race speed of 131.228 miles per hour. Scott Upton finishes a little over half a second behind in the second position. Zidell, Thibodeau, McLeese, Gordon, Collins, Truxell, Cologne, and Kukulon round out the top 10. Take a look at the rest of your standings. 25 cars finishing on the lead lap. McClure, the last one on the lead lap. Henderson, Harris, Cruz, Williams, Andrews, Parker, Wright, Garcia, Sakala, Thompson, and Crown finishing either 1 or 2 laps down. Garcia, Sakala, Thompson, and Crown finishing 2 laps down. And then Brandon Hayes, the 84, out with a tire issue. Kanan Biller and William Brock were involved in the second pileup, and Caleb Rose blew up at the start of this one, even before the cautions came out. So Caleb Rose will have 1 point to his championship run coming out of this as a sort of thanks for showing up consolation prize. But what a race here at Rockingham. Alex, final thoughts on this one?
I'm proud of my dad, Chase Buck there. That meme still goes on. That was a great race. Absolutely great race here at Rockingham. Great to see a relatively clean race, especially compared to what you had last year. Only 2 cautions there, and then the last half was caution-free. And we had a great race there between Chase Buck, Scott Upton, and Justin Zidell for the race win. And Chase Buck got the best of all of them here today at the Rockingham Speedway. And like I said, this just got me excited for my own Rockingham race, which will actually be 3 weeks from now over there in the Wawa Cup Series. So excited to see how that one plays out. But this one just got me excited. A great racetrack here at the Rockingham Speedway, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, and we are looking forward to that Wawa Cup Series race. Y'all be sure to tune in, all right? I'm sure a lot of you that watch it probably are also watch Alex. But if you don't, go ahead and check out his channel, AG the channel. Check it out. The Wawa Cup Series. As we're recording this, 2 races in. Ali Liera is 2 for 2 in the 2023 season. Won at Homestead and then won the Daytona 500. Auto Club is up this weekend. It's actually the same weekend.
Already happened last night.
Yeah,
and,
which
that
would
was
have
a fun
happened.
race there.
Which would have happened last night, indeed. I don't know what happened, but Alex
Matt
obviously
got the
does.
win in that one. That was a good race last night, Auto Club. We had a caution-free one over there. So.
Oh wow.
But lots of good stuff going over there. But of course, obviously, Josh, you're doing great as well. And Chase Buck doing great here in the Trinity River Cup Series.
Absolutely. He might climb up into the top 5 in the championship standings after this performance. We'll take a look at the championship standings, of course, in a moment. But for now, thank you again to Alex for coming aboard the call for this one. It has been a blast, and we will see y'all next weekend in the Southern Hemisphere. For the first time ever, we will be heading to Australia. We'll be heading to the Bend Motorsports Park. That should be a just fantastic race. We'll see you next week, and until then, on behalf of Alex, thank you for tuning in. Y'all take care, stay safe, and have a good one.